Yes, children, in the previous video, I had told you regarding different types of neurons. Today we are going to study about the nerves. Nerve is a bundle of the nerve fibers of separate neurons. So nerve fibers or the axons of the neurons, they bundle together and are enclosed in the tubular sheath and is known as nerve then. And these nerves are thread-like white structures which emerge from the brain and spinal cord and branch out to almost all the parts of the body. So nerves, they originate from the brain and the spinal cord and branch and reach nearly every part of the body. A nerve may be compared to an underground electric cable containing numerous conducting wires, each insulated from the other. And the myelin sheath acts as insulation and prevents the mixing up of the impulses in the adjacent neuron. So that myelin sheath which was covering the axon, that prevents the mixing up of the impulses. Then three kinds of nerves are there: sensory nerves, motor nerve, and mixed nerves. Sensory nerves are those which have only sensory fibers bringing impulses from the receptors to the brain or the spinal cord. For example, the optic nerve arising from the eye and ending in the brain. Then motor nerves contain only the motor fibers carrying impulses from the brain or spinal cord to effector organs to bring them into action. Example is the nerves arising from the brain and supplying the muscles of the eyeball for rotating the eye. Mixed nerves are those that contain both sensory and motor fibers. For example, spinal nerve. So this is about the nerves. Next we come over to ganglia. Like nerves are the bundles of axon surrounded by a sheath, then it is known as nerve. While ganglia, it is the aggregation of the nerve cell bodies from which the nerve fibers may arise or enter into. So when nerve cell bodies, they are aggregated, it is known as ganglia. And next we come over to the two major divisions of the nervous system, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. And the peripheral nervous system consists of two subdivisions: the somatic nervous system, which conveys information to the skeletal muscles, and the autonomic nervous system, and it includes the pair of chain of ganglia and the nerves. So it contains the pair of chain of ganglia and the nerves which control the involuntary actions of many of the internal organs. So here if you see, there are the ganglia and from which these nerves arise, and all this constitute the autonomic nervous system. Then brain is the main part of the nervous system, and this brain, in proportion to the size of the body, the human brain is largest among all animals. And the brain is very delicate organ, well protected inside the brain box or cranium of the skull. And the adult brain weighs about 1.35 kg and constitute about 2% of the total body weight, and it is 80% water and consumes more than 25% of the total oxygen taken by the body. So 25% of the oxygen is consumed by the brain. And this brain is surrounded by protective coverings called meninges, and these are three membranous coverings, and the outermost one is dura mater. It is made up of tough fibrous membrane. Then second is arachnoid, the thin delicate middle web-like cushion. It is the one which gives it a cushiony effect. And third is pia mater, the innermost one, which is highly vascular. Vascular means richly supplied with blood vessels. And if it is richly supplied with blood vessels, of course, blood is the one which is going to provide nourishment and oxygen. So these are the three coverings around the brain and are known as meninges. And if any kind of inflammation occurs in these meninges, it results in meningitis. And these membranes, they're not sticking to each other. There is space between them. And that space is filled up with the fluid which is called cerebrospinal fluid. And the same fluid also fills the central space of the brain and the central canal of the spinal cord. And the function of the cerebrospinal fluid is that it acts like a cushion to protect the brain from shocks. So this much for today.